Alright, we're going to assemble our emergency camper van build. This is a one-day build that really only takes a few minutes, to be honest. Because all you're really doing is just emptying the van out to make room for sleeping, essentially, and preparing a system for cooking. I think with eating and sleeping, you pretty much can live in the van, other than going to the bathroom, which we'll address later. But the idea is to get this van ready within one day, with bare minimal. So the first thing you need to do, obviously, is to remove the seats. Now, the seats come off differently in different vans. I didn't bother to show you on viewers on this one how it comes out. But let me go ahead and show you the seat and see how they release on here. Okay, essentially the seats on here have these latches that you push the button in and it go up and down. But you can see the pictures here that show what they do. But when you push the latch in, and then push the button in, push it up, it locks into place. Goes down and locks. The bottom latch locks when you do that. So right now I've got it latched, but it's just sitting here out in the open in Walter's garage. I've removed both the front and the rear seats to make plenty of room. Once we've removed the seat, we've got a blank canvas. Now, this particular vehicle is smaller than Little Blue 2. It doesn't have much room. It's got basically enough room here for a full-size bed, and that's it. If you laid out a full-size mattress, that's all that would fit in here. Now, the mattress that I have is a blow-up twin, I think. I don't know if it's a twin or a full. I think it's a twin. But we can go ahead and put that in just to show you how it looks once you put the mattress in here. Here then is the setup with the mattress installed. This is a blow-up Intex mattress. I don't know if it's the $15 one. I think I paid like $20 or $30 for this one. But there's like a $15 one that you could get. It's an air mattress. Not the most comfortable, but more comfortable than laying down on the bare floor. Obviously, you want to put some stuff on here to lay down. You can see there's a little bit of room here because this is not a full size. I think this is a twin. But what we're going to do is actually decide where to put it, to the left or to the right. Now, that's going to be a preference thing. But based on my experience with building Little Blue 2 and various other stealth camper vans, I'm going to try to put it onto this. Actually, this side over here, this opposite side. It's actually the opposite side to how I had the bed arranged on Little Blue 2. And the reason for that is this rear window here. We want to actually have access to this this window right here and this side window when we're driving, because even though right now all it is just a mattress, I'm actually designing this for a real build. So if all you have is like a Caravan or Voyager, not the full size, not the Grand Caravan or Grand Voyager or the Town and Country Extended, this build can be made just by following these plans. And it's not really a lot of construction, although there might be a little bit for some special cabinetry that we're going to put here. And the reason we're going to put cabinetry here is so that you can have some storage at the spot. So I think this is how we're going to lay it out. And you would lay the your bedding on top of this, and you would have a pretty comfortable bed. Now, for bedding, you should probably have access to your own bedding stuff. But if you don't, I would recommend buying a sleeping bag or two and use that as your comforter, as well as laying it onto the air mattress itself. For me, however, since I had this memory foam bed that mattress that I bought from Walmart, I think it was like $60, $56 or something like that. I'm gonna go ahead and put it on the air mattress as a bed topper because it's really soft and comfortable, and this would allow me to really be comfortable laying down on this thing. Since I already had it, I figured I might as well use it, and then it's just a matter of putting out the bedding. As you can see, I've assembled the bed, and it is a very minimal setup. Just a mattress with some bedding on it, some pillows, and you're actually ready to live in the van. let's take a look now at the cooking system, a very simplified cooking system to show you how you can use the inverter to cook. Now, some of you might prefer to use the propane or the butane cooking system, which makes it really easy, but you have to buy fuel for that. I prefer to use electricity, especially since sometimes at work or elsewhere I have access to 120 volt power. So yesterday I went by Walmart to show you what components would be needed to make a simplified cooking system. So let's put one together to show you how you would cook using the simple setup. So essentially right now you have a place where you can sleep that's kind of sheltered from the rain. And you know, it may not be that glamorous, but it's better than sleeping under a bridge or on a park bench. And it's actually pretty comfortable. So without further ado, let's go ahead and set up our El Quico Cheapo kitchen. Yesterday at Walmart, I showed viewers the inverter section at the automotive section of Walmart. Unfortunately, they didn't have any of the suitable power converters or power inverters. Now this is an old one that I have for 350 watts, which is barely adequate, but actually good enough for cooking, because the rice cooker that we're going to be using only draws 300 watts. And how you hook up these inverters is this. This one, as you can see, is really old. It's like more than 10 years old. A little loose here. I need to tighten that down, but it's got two cables that come off it with jumper connections here, clamps, and the red is like positive and the black is like the ground. I think it's the ground. Anyhow, so you're going to put the red to the plus, or the red side right here. See how it has a plus right there? And you're going to connect the black to the negative right here. And that's all there is to hooking up the inverter. So let me do that. Let me tighten down these clamps and go ahead and connect it to show you how it works. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to hook up, leave this off right now. I'm going to hook up the red to the red, which is right over here. Make sure I don't put the black on the red. Make sure it makes a good connection here. So the red's on the red, and the black's going to go onto the black. You see that little spark? That's normal. Okay, it means our battery's live. And that's pretty much it. So this converter or inverter is going to convert this 12 volt DC battery, the car battery, into 120 volts AC or alternating current. Now this has two outputs here. Let's turn it on and make sure it works. You can see when I turned it on, we can hear the fan buzzing, and we can see that the red light, the green light came on here. Let me turn it off to show you. It's turned off now, and the green light slowly faded, although you can't tell on here. But that's basically it. The only problem is this: when you're trying to cook with the system here, this inverter draws a lot of power from the battery. And what will happen is the battery will actually drain, and then you won't be able to start your car anymore. Because cooking with the electricity actually uses a lot of power. And going through the inverter can drain your battery really fast. So to make sure we don't drain the battery, what you have to do is you have to start the vehicle and run it before you use the inverter to try to cook. We're going to do that in a moment, but before we do that, let me show you a little bit about the rice cooker that I tried to get at Walmart and they didn't have it in stock. I think the reason power inverters and rice cookers and stuff like that were all out is because of Hurricane Irma coming through the area, and people were buying up basically inverters and batteries and things like that so that they could generate electricity. And they might have decided on the 300 watt rice cooker because they're nice and small, and people know that they don't use that much power. But anyhow, let me go ahead and show you the rice cooker so you can understand what I was talking about on how to figure out how much power it uses. This is the Aroma rice cooker that I was talking about that I tried to find at Walmart. I think it sells for $15, $14.95 or something. It is a 6-cup rice cooker, very small. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, there's 6. It'll do up to 6 cups of rice. I think you put in 3 and it expands to 6. You can see I've used this. This has seen better days. But anyhow, you can look underneath most appliances or near where the plug goes in, and you're gonna see a rating on here, and it says like this is 120 volt, 300 watts, 60 hertz, AC only. So this thing requires 300 watts, and we've determined that our inverter here is 350 watts. So it should be adequate. And it has a 700 watt peak when you first turn something on. So this inverter here should be strong enough to power the rice cooker. So let's go ahead and start up the engine and put in some rice to the rice cooker. And I'm actually going to let it cook with the engine running here to show you that it is possible to cook like this. For those of you who are curious about how I cook the rice, let me go ahead and give you the ratios of what I usually do for a serving for me, and it might have a little bit of rice left over. I put in enough rice, just slightly under 1 cup, like for a serving for one person for me, because I eat a lot of rice. But I put in about 2/3 of a cup of rice, and I add enough water so that it goes to about basically just slightly over 2 cups, on the line. See the water line? See the two cup line? This goes at about into the half, so it's less than half. So it's basically I put the rice in there at 3/4 of a cup, and then I add water so that the line of the water is a little bit above 2 cups, about 2.25, 2.25 is where I put the water line at. Now, I don't just pour water in there unless I'm conserving water, like when I'm on the road, which I'll have to do. When I'm at a house, like right now at Walter's house, I actually rinse the rice. I think it's just better. It's like to clean, make sure the rice is clean. Then I add the water to this level. Now, we could turn the system on right now and it'll start to cook, but the problem is the battery will drain and the car won't start anymore. So to try to make sure that our battery stays charged, I'm going to start up the car before I start up the inverter. This rice cooker automatically comes on once the electricity is flowing through here. Right now, no electricity is flowing through the inverter because the system is still off. Alright, so to begin the cooking, I start the car up, okay? Even though my car, if you've been following Rusty Iron Van, has some serious issues, we were able to start it up with no problems. And right now you can see the engine is running. So the alternator over there is generating electricity, 12 volts, that's coming into the battery to charge it up. So right now the battery is being charged up by the alternator from the engine. And I'm going to go ahead and turn this system on. You can see right now the rice cooker is off. And when I turn this on, the light will come on. So the power is on, which means we are now generating 120 volts from this inverter. So it's taking the 12 volts from there, coming through the inverter, converting it to 120 volts, and coming through here to the rice cooker, which right now is set on warm, because when it turns on, it's in warm mode. So I'm going to go ahead and, you can see it blinking here. It's not really blinking, it's only blinking on this camera. To my eyes right now, it's not blinking, but I'm going to go ahead and put it on high mode. There you have it. So it is now on the red, which is the hot mode, and it is really cooking right now. This rice will take about 12 to 15 minutes to cook on this rice cooker. So I'm just going to leave the car running and let the rice cook and then show you the end results. Oh, before I leave the rice cooker, I just want to point out something. When this rice is finished cooking in about 15 minutes, I guess it goes not by time, but by how hot it gets under there, this switch will automatically go back up to warm mode. So the system somewhat saves electricity and kind of semi-shuts itself off. And you can see we can cook like this if we had to. But this is really not that convenient because you have to pop the hood, as you can see here, hook up the inverter, and bring the rice cooker out here and set it on something level to cook. But this could be done on a minimal system in an emergency. I, however, am going to modify this system So it's a little bit more useful, and I'm going to do it in stages so you can follow along depending on how much money you have and how much work you feel like doing. For now though, this is just showing you the simplest setup, which is having an inverter hooked up to a battery, hooked up to the device you're using, which is a rice cooker. You just have to make sure the watts are, for the device, which is 300 here, is smaller than what the inverter will output. This one will output 350 watts. Some of you were wondering why I didn't just go with like 1,000 watts or 2,000 watt inverter. The reason is I don't need that much power. I only need 300 watts to run this rice cooker. And you really want to use the least amount you actually need, because the larger your inverter, the more power it takes from the battery to convert. You know, it basically is wasting electricity, wasting power. So you want to use the minimal. I actually think 350 is fine for cooking the rice cooker if that's all you want to do. But if you want to run power tools and stuff, I would recommend getting at least 750, if not a 1,000 watt inverter. My 750 watt inverter was able to power my drill and saw, although they sometimes shut off because it went a little bit too strong. So if you're going to use power tools, you might want to go ahead and get 1,000 watts. If I had to do it again, I think I might go with 1,000 watts. But for now, since I have a 750 watt inverter, that's the one I'll keep using. I'm not using it right now because I just wanted to show you a really simple system and very minimal. You can pick up one of these 350 watt to 400 watt inverters for about $30. And the rice cooker itself was $15, $14.95 or something. You see our engine is running. I think I shouldn't have that touching. That may end up melting here. But anyhow, I'm going to go ahead and stop the camera because this is going on and on. But we'll go ahead and continue with another part to show you how the food looks. And I can actually cook a second dish with this by having two of these pots, you know, like the rice cooker pots. Basically, you can buy two rice cookers and just use the pots and swap it out and cook the second dish, like a meat dish to eat with it. Or you could buy like rotisserie chicken from Walmart to eat with the rice. But for now, I'm going to go ahead and cook some meat dish inside the house to eat with this rice. So let me do that while this is cooking out here. I've got about another 7 or 10 minutes left.